One-and-Done-athon Season 2. Again, just super excited to be here. Thank you all to the runners from day one. But that's in the past. We have so much more ahead of us today.
We do.
Go back and check out those videos, youtube.com/gamesdonequick. They'll be up in like 24, 48 hours. But starting off today, let's do a quick rundown of what we got today.
Yeah.
First up, we've got new Super Luigi U by Uvideo. You were one of the ones who watched that video. You know what?
Oh yeah, I thought this was super great. Uvideo is going to do an amazing job commentating the whole thing. It's also, I feel like with platformers, we don't often get to see 100% stuff. So that was something that seems pretty neat about this, is that we're actually going to see, you know, the whole game. We're going to see everything completed. It's not even just warpless or whatever. It's actually get everything. So I think that's going to be great. Also, hi, he's Amerlin and I'm Jay Hobbs. He totally forgot to introduce us, so hello. But yeah, I'm excited for it, and it's going to be kicking us off here soon.
Yeah.
But after that, we've got Ghost Kumo is going to be doing E's Memories of Calcutta? Salsetta?
I don't. We should ask.
Well, I never remember. I've asked before and I never remember, but it's going to be on any % Nightmare. Should be a blast. The Ease games are always just super wonky in terms of what speedrunners have been able to do to them.
Yeah, that's actually run for a while. Ghost Kumo like knock it down from something super long to like, you know, the 45-minute estimate it is today. So there's a lot of really interesting tech in that run.
Should be cool.
And we've got House Test with Metal Gear MSX. This is one that I really like. I'm a big fan of the Metal Gear series, and I really like the, you know, small weird intricacies that you can do with the fact that it's a 2D top-down here, as opposed to the more 3D of the recent times.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty unfamiliar with Metal Gear, so looking forward to that one. And then following up, we have a Lego Bionicle from Derek MK, which is on the GBA.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I saw this one. I was like, okay, yeah, this is a One-and-Done-athon submission right here.
Leading up to all of the interesting tech in this run, which is incredible that there's so much, because it's a 20-minute run.
Right.
There's like so much that you can do in such a short amount of time to just blow through the entire game.
Yeah, Game Boy Advance too, so it's just like they've been able to really figure stuff out. What do we got coming up after that?
And we've got Valeria Chan with Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. You know, we just had it at GDQ, and now we're gonna have it again. Same category, I believe.
New Game Plus Hard, yeah. Yeah, Valeria Chan going to do a fantastic job from what we were able to see in this mission.
I think she grabbed the record recently.
Wow,
So,
that's awesome.
You know, this will be I love Revengeance. I think it's a hilarious game to play, but I'm so bad at it. I want to just annihilate the game.
Yeah, should be pretty good. And then coming up after that, we've got Frozen Flygon doing Candy Box 2, which is like a weird idle game, but not in the way that they're gonna play it. It's pretty neat. It's short and sweet as well, and it's got a lot more to it than you'd think, just hearing the name or even just hearing idle game. So highly recommend tuning in for that one.
Yeah. And then, you know, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5.
Yes.
Level super boss.
Yeah, okay, so this one kind of needs like a little bit of explanation, because it is the super bosses from all of the games on the 1.5 plus 2.5 disc. So it's a rush through the bosses in Birth by Sleep, in Kingdom Hearts 1, and in Kingdom Hearts 2. And it is super cool. The beginning of it in particular is extremely brutal, so there may be some deaths, but like it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very hype. So tune in to that one. It's going to be IBA all day bringing that one to us.
Yeah, I remember watching the submission video going, man, this first boss, it seems like he's struggling a little bit. Like, no, that's like the hardest.
The mysterious figure is a notoriously not fair boss, and they got to open with that one. So.
Then we've got Xandri69 coming in with Sonic CD. This was the one I was really interested in, because there's a ton of glitches in this game. It's a 2D Sonic, and there's so many zips and crossing the screen in just a really weird way, and like lagging the game to clip through walls.
I feel like Sonic CD is also like, it's because it's not Sonic 1 through 3, it kind of is forgotten about a lot of times with the 2D Sonic, so cool that we're getting to see that one here. And then after that, Master Spy being run by Shout64 on the operative difficulty. This is really cool because Master Spy is just like this indie platformer stealth game, and the way that they use, and by use I mean at times don't use, the stealth mechanic is really neat. So So tune in for that one. It's, again, another one of those short and sweet runs that is just like really fun and fast to watch.
And then, second to last, we have Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 by Almac. When I saw this one, I was like, all right, I love it. This is great. It's a 3D, or it's a third-person Star Wars game, so over the shoulder, and it's got all the really janky movement that's like in Battlefront. If you play
wow.
moving around the map, but it's even more.
Oh, jeez.
Boosting, you're going up a bunch of ridiculous things. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, that should be fun. I definitely remember looking at the video for that one. It was good. And then to close everything out today and to close out the weekend, it'll be Metroid Dread brought to you by Kikuman Shoyu, which is not only going to be an incredible run if it were Metroid Dread, but it's actually going to be Dread mode any % NMG. So that is one-hit KO mode for Metroid Dread. If you played that game, and even if you started speedrunning it, I'm sure you remember taking a lot of damage, because I would just run into random enemies all the time. So absolutely looking forward to that one. Who knows? Maybe Keku will go completely deathless. Probably not. But we'll see. And that'll be the thing to close us off at the end of the night.
Yeah. So, quick rundown of everything, and I think it's best we probably just go ahead and get into it. So.
Yeah, so let's say hello and welcome to Uvideo, who's, again, going to be running new Super Luigi U 100%. Uvideo, take it away, and good luck.
All right, thank you so much. All right, hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Uvideo, and I'm going to be speedrunning new Super Luigi U for you today. This is going to be the 100% run. So it means we're going to be doing everything. So the objective of the 100% run is to get what we have right here, 5 stars on a file. That is the only requirement. So in order to do that, I have to accomplish 3 different things. So I have to beat every level. And for the levels that have multiple exits or multiple endings, I have to get all of them. I have to get every star coin. Those who've played this game before know that all the levels have 3 big coins called star coins, so I'm going to have to collect all of those. And I'm going to have to do all 7 of what's called the Nabbit chases. There are one of those in each of the first 7 worlds. So that's pretty much it. Let's get right into the run. So the timing for this game is a little bit interesting. It actually starts about 5 seconds after I hit OK right here. So if you want me to just count it down from 5, I can do that for you. All right, sounds good. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so we're starting off here with small Luigi, but that's not going to last very long. The main power-up of this game is the Acorn suit, and we're going to be collecting that right now. And that lets us do a couple different special moves. It lets us glide like this to stay in the air for longer. It lets us do that fly to boost up in the air. And it also lets us do a spin jump, which gives us extra height compared to a normal jump. Those are the 3 big moves that are going to be used throughout the run.
Made it.
And I'm going to be using those everywhere, so get used to it. So that's 1 level down, and we still got, I think, more than 90 to go. So for 1-2 here, I'm going to be grabbing my first power star, and the star gives me invincibility. And that's really important. But the other important thing is that it also gives me a speed increase. So even though I had to go a little bit out of my way to grab the star, it was actually worth the time that it took because of the drastic speed increase. Now right here, I'm going to glide, and then I'm going to try to stop gliding as soon as possible, because that speed increase that you get with the star, that doesn't apply when you're gliding. So I want to cut my glide very short.
Oh, secret.
So, a keen viewer might have noticed, I did not grab the first star coin in that level. Like I mentioned earlier, I have to get all of the exits in the levels that have multiple exits. So 1-2 is one of those levels where it has multiple exits. So I'm going to have to come back later and do the other one that I missed. And I'm just going to grab the first star coin then because it's going to end up being faster. It's pretty nice that you can split up the star coins like that. I know other games, like, you have to get all the collectibles in one go or else it doesn't count, but NSLU is not like that, so it's pretty nice. So now I'm going to be switching to the second character. Not a lot of people know that you can even play as this guy, but if you hold ZL when you enter a level, you can actually play as Nabbit. And Nabbit is invincible. However, he can still die, so I do still need to be careful. So although I can't take damage, this big fish right here can still eat me, so I have to be very careful to not get eaten. Alright. In addition to that, at any point in the run, if I fall in a pit as Nabbit or if I hit lava, I will still die. And the interesting thing is that because the game treats Nabbit as a sort of Easter egg and not really as a separate character, if you take a death as Nabbit, it treats it as if you died as Luigi, so I will lose my power-up if I take a death as Nabbit. And this level, we call it 1-Secret. This is basically the warp level that takes you to World 5. So I'm actually going to be heading to World 5 already, and that might seem a little bit weird. You might think like, oh, well, since it's a 100% run, why aren't you going to just do all the worlds in order since you have to do everything anyway? But there are some specific reasons for why I'm going to knock out some of the later worlds first. I'll kind of get into them as they become easier to see. But just keep that in mind. It is faster to knock out some of these later worlds first. And it's also nice just from the standpoint of like someone doing a lot of attempts of this run. You get to knock out these later worlds early, which include a lot of the harder tricks. So yeah, with that being said, we're heading into World 5. We will come back to World 1 later though, because there is a lot of stuff I missed. So 5.1 introduces two really interesting mechanics. The first one is that I can knock shells into star coins, and that will count as me picking up a coin. So I'm actually going to be doing that a lot throughout the run, using shells to grab coins instead of grabbing them myself, because it ends up being faster in a lot of cases. The second thing is that 5.1 features these vines right here. And normally when you swing on the vine, you get a little speed increase, but then as soon as you jump off, you lose that additional speed. However, when you let go of the D-pad after jumping off the vine, the game no longer caps your speed. So you actually keep that faster speed. And that didn't make too much of a difference at the beginning, but here at the end, I can actually keep that increased speed, and then I can continue to chain that by bouncing off of enemies. So now I'm keeping that increased speed for most of the rest of the level. Oops. So hit that shell in the wrong direction, but all I gotta do is wait for it to come back around and grab the coin for me. So pretty good level. Oh yeah, I see somebody in chat acknowledging the text about the Miiverse. It's kind of funny, the Miiverse no longer exists, but they still have some text to tell you about it in the game. They never removed that. So now we're getting this cutscene here that tells us that Nabbit is in 1-1. It doesn't really make a lot of sense because we're able to play as Nabbit, but now we're going to go chase Nabbit. And this is one of those Nabbit chases that I was talking about. We have to do 7 of these, one in each of the first 7 worlds. So we're going to go do the one in World 1 right now, and the main reason for that is just so that the other ones will actually unlock. If we didn't do it now, the other ones would not unlock. It's kind of unfortunate we have to do that because it is kind of a detour with having to go all the way back to World 1. And then we're going to go right back to World 5 after this, but that's kind of the only big detour in the route. So I'm going to do something right here called a fast acceleration. So as soon as I gain control, I'm going to jump and then do a quick glide, and that actually brings me to full speed sooner than if I were to just run forward. I wouldn't have been able to catch Nabbit that quickly if I hadn't done the fast acceleration. And I'm going to be using fast accelerations throughout the entire run. Explain why I don't use Yellow Toad in the speedrun. That's actually an interesting point. I'm playing on the the Wii U version of the game. So the only characters I have access to are Luigi and Nabbit. I do not, unfortunately, have access to the Toads or Toadette like I would on the Switch version.
Let's go.
So you might have noticed I got an award there for catching Nabbit. It was a Pea Acorn. And the Pea Acorn is a really broken power-up. So basically, the fly move that I have with the acorn, it lets me do that infinitely. Normally I'd have to touch the ground. Like right here, I can fly, but then I have to touch the ground again before I can fly. But with the Pea Acorn, you can do that as many times as you want, and that's super broken.
Made it.
So we're going to be using it right now to do our first big skip of the run.
Ha.
I'll probably just be quiet while I do the skip so I don't mess it up. Alright, cool. So that saves like 30 seconds over just taking the auto-scroller in this level. So it in addition to just being really cool.
Yeah, that was incredibly cool. I think that was one of the skips that like sold me on this when we were looking
that's
at
awesome.
them.
Yeah, it's
was
so
super
cool
neat.
looking. We have our first boss now. This is Boom Boom. So right here I'm going to use a visual cue to just do a full jump. So I look at the ground and there's like a line where I just do a full jump. And that actually allows me to just land right on his head. And then for the other hits, I just wait for him to stop shaking his head, and that's my indicator that I can jump on him again. So unfortunately, you only get to use the Pea Acorn for one level. So I can say goodbye to the Pea Acorn for a bit. But it would probably be kind of bad for the speedrun if you could actually carry it for multiple levels, because then the run would probably heavily revolve around trying to keep that Pea Acorn and not get hit, and it would be very difficult, so it's probably just better that way. So we missed an exit in 5-2, so I'm going to go back and do that one now. The ordering for the levels at the beginning is a little bit weird. It might seem like I'm kind of going out of my way on the world map a bit, but that's mostly because I wanted to get 5 Tower out of the way now because it doesn't work with the power-up route that I need to do later. So for this level, I need to make sure that I'm pretty fast. In fact, that was not very fast. I need to watch out for getting double digits on the timer when I hit the flagpole here, so I'm gonna be careful. So I just barely got a 76. And if I had gotten 77 or any other double digits, that would give me something called Fireworks. And Fireworks are basically a 17-second longer ending cutscene that, well, they're just slow, basically. But the one advantage to Fireworks, I guess, is that depending on what number of double digits you get a certain power-up. And 77 actually does correspond to Acorn, so it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world to get a 77, but I'll try to avoid it. If I can. Just because it's slow. This is our next Nabbit chase. This one's actually pretty cool, because you can use the vine to get so far ahead of him that he just runs right into your arms. Also, for these text boxes after the Nabbit cutscene, and just for any text boxes, I actually am mashing A and start. I'm alternating. The game doesn't really tell you can press start to advance text boxes, but you can. I would normally do the level 5-6 right now, but I'm actually going to save it for a couple levels from now just as a safety strat. Only loses a couple seconds. And that's only because there's an acorn in that level. So 5-7 is one of the levels I think best shows off Luigi's moveset really well. There's just so much going on in this one. I really love the Acorn moveset in this game. It's just really good. Oh, well, good thing I saved 5-6, huh? So, yeah, no big deal at all.
If you're gonna lose it, best time is like right before the end, right?
Yeah, basically, huh? At least I didn't really lose any time, like for grabbing the star coin. So 5 Castle has these chains that are exactly the same as the vines in 5-1. So I'm going to be doing the same trick where I neutral jump off of them to get that increased speed. But this one's really important that I get because there's a cycle here that I'm trying to make with that lava at the bottom to get to the 3rd star coin before it gets covered by lava. So I just barely got it there. And the reason that's important is because I have to wait for the 2nd coin anyway, so I might as well do something useful with that time while I'm waiting and grab the 3rd coin. And then as soon as I get the 2nd coin, I can just go right to the end. So we're coming up on our first RNG run. This next boss fight is against Iggy. And at the start of the fight, Iggy's going to pop out at either the top left or the top right of the screen. So I'm just going to go to the top left and do a ground pound and hope it hits him. That's basically the best I can do. It's a 50-50. Nice. All right. So yeah, if I hadn't gotten that, it only loses like 5 seconds, but it's still cool to get it. And then how long he stays in his shell here is like a little bit random. But you know that he always goes into the pipes 4 times. So I can at least count on that. During my submission video, I tried to count the pipes, I tried to count the number of times that he went into the pipes like out loud, and I somehow miscounted to 4. I think I said like 1, 3, 4 or something, and then I was very confused when he didn't pop out. But luckily I didn't do that right now. So because I saved 5-6 for now, I actually don't have to equip my backup acorn that I have. I can instead just get another acorn in 5-6, which is really nice. And this is like probably the quickest backup acorn in the game. So that's really nice. There are quite a few backups though, so I'm not like too worried. Yeah, just like that, got those green coins, and now we're chilling again. This is another level where I do need to be a little careful to not get fireworks, but I should be good. The important thing is that you're like cognizant that you can get fireworks and just always looking out for it. And if you're good about looking out for it, you usually won't get them. Something that I think you just develop over time too with running the game a lot is you kind of learn what the normal times you get for levels are, and if that's something close to double digits. And then you also learn like when you make a mistake, like, oh, that mistake costs 2 seconds, is that going to get me fireworks now? And you just kind of pick up on it. So 6-1 is another Nabbit level. I think this one really exemplifies the importance of the twirls, and I haven't really talked about those yet. So when you hit ZL or ZR, you can get a twirl that like extends your jump a little bit, like that. And those are really important. You can do them as Luigi, or as Acorn Luigi, but only after you've already flown, so they're not quite as useful. But as Nabbit, they are super useful. It allows me to make that jump right there, and this one at the end as well, to grab the star coins super fast without having to slow down. So 6-2 is the first level, or actually the only level, that features music blocks. And music blocks are really interesting because you have to jump off of them in a certain way in order to not lose all of your speed. So I actually have a setup And luckily there's only one set that's really required for me to jump off of, so I have a setup for that. So I do a spin jump here and then immediately hold B to glide, and then I drop right between those two poles and jump as soon as I land on the ground, and that sets me up every time to not lose my speed. So when I get spit out of the pipe right here, I'm going to be doing something called a pipe kick, where I wall jump off of the pipe right as it spits me out. And that actually saves time, because when you wall jump, you actually get to full speed faster than if you were to just run forward. Alright, so this next level is one of the harder ones for sure. This level features the only glitch of the run, so hopefully I can get it. But if not, it doesn't save that much time. So right here, I'm going to clip. Yep, right there was that block with the 1-up, and to the left of it, there was actually another hidden block, but I just clipped right through it by flying at the right time. And yeah, that is the only glitch of the whole run.
It's funny because I didn't know that like the new Super Mario games really even had much of anything in terms of glitches for them.
They hardly do. Yeah, at least like the later ones. I know New Super Mario Bros. DS has a couple interesting ones, but that game is like so different than the rest of the ones in the series.
It definitely feels different. It definitely plays.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, just playing it casually. I mean, it just like the mechanics of it.
Yeah,
feel so different. Somebody told me that all the games since Mario Bros. Wii were built off of the same engine. I'm not sure if that's true. Someone can maybe look that up and confirm it, but that wouldn't surprise me too much because all the rest of the games feel pretty similar, but that first one is just very different. Alright, so we're going to be doing the same glitch again. And I'm going to be going for a hard strat in this level where I try to kill one of these rolling guys. Actually, I'm not going to be going for it because I messed up, but that's okay. Normally I would be going for that. It's pretty tight, so it's probably just best I didn't get to try it anyway. It only saves like 2 seconds, so it's no big deal. So all the Boom Booms have like a gimmick. This one, he can fly. What Kamek forgot to consider was that I can also fly. So I can just get right up to him. And then, like all the Boom Booms, you can pretty much just stun lock them if you know the timing for when to jump on his head again. So it's quite nice. So 6-3 is our next level. This is one of my favorites. I just think like this is another one that does a really good job of showing off the movement that you can do with the acorn suit. And I'll kind of just let this one speak for itself as well. Oops, I was supposed to kill that guy, but no big deal. I just have to wait for him to throw the spike ball. Oops. Whoops. Yeah, no big deal. That's the first time we'll see those spiked enemies, but they will be back later.
Made it.
They're not spiked enemies, they're called spikes. So the next level, I guess, is our first auto-scroller. The nice thing about this game, I didn't even really mention, but this game is the DLC for New Super Mario Bros. U, so it's like the same world map, same bosses, but all the levels are changed. But the big gimmick with this game is that all the levels are really short. They're short, and you have a 100-second time limit, and you also have no checkpoints. And that's quite nice from a speedrunning standpoint because it means no long auto-scrollers. You got a few short ones like this, but they're really not a big deal. They're just kind of a nice break among all the other gameplay. So right here, I kind of cling onto the wall, which is something you can do with the acorn suit. It's not used a whole lot, but I can cling onto the wall to lure that enemy to fall. Make this ending pretty easy. And you can use an Abbott for this, but it's like a little bit slower because at the end I was able to use my spin jump to get up to the last star coin a little sooner.
Made it.
Alright, so 6-5 is the next level that has multiple exits. We're going to be clearing out both of those. So right now would be a really good time to actually talk about a couple interesting things with flagpoles. So kind of the rule of thumb is if I can do a level as either Nabbit or Luigi, I want to do it as Nabbit. Like if they're the same speed, that is. Because for whatever reason, when Nabbit hits the flagpole, Nabbit's flagpole animation is about 0.3 seconds faster. Why that is, I really couldn't tell you. But that is the case. So, yeah, the only way you can get it to be faster, however, is by turning left before you hit the flagpole. So you're always going to see me turning left before I hit the flagpole. Very interesting, because turning left as Luigi saves, like, I think a frame. And then as Nabbit, it saves, like, a few tenths of a second. So it's just very strange, but that's kind of how flagpoles work.
Secret.
Also, yes, see a question in chat if I'm playing on Wii U. Yes, I am. There are more reasons for that I will talk about later, but for now, I will just say yes, I am playing on the Wii U. So now we're going to 6 Tower 2, another really cool squirrel suit level. And again, I will just be quiet while I do it. Alright, so if you remember earlier, I talked about fast accelerations where I jump and then immediately glide, and that lets me accelerate a bit faster. That's going to be super important on this boss, because if I can do a really good fast acceleration, I can actually get a quick hit on him and basically get him stun locked. He never gets to do anything. So I got it, so now he is stunned and he can't really do anything.
I've been staying silent on a lot of these squirrel suit levels to let you focus, but I gotta say that they have been impressive. Like every time, just
thank you so
the quick
much.
movement. I always love climbs in 2D platformers because
Me too.
Yeah, and speedruns, it's always like that balance of you got to go high enough to clear the next platform, but you want to be just barely able.
Yeah,
to clear
just
it.
barely.
Yeah.
Just barely.
You've been showing off really well with these acorn.
Oh, thank you.
levels.
Another little safety strat I'm going to do. I would normally do this level as Luigi, but I'm going to do it as Nabbit. It's only about half a second slower, and that's just because I don't want to get hit. But the big reason I'm doing that on this level in particular is because this level features Fire Bros, and Fire Bros, they move around randomly, and they also throw fireballs randomly. So I just didn't really want to risk it with the RNG factor being a thing. So I just decided for this level, for this level, I'm gonna just play as Nabbit. You won't see too many safety strats throughout the run. I'm generally gonna be going for what I would do in like normal attempts. And especially as we get further in, I will definitely be going for harder and harder stuff. And that's the only reason I'm going a little bit easier, or a little bit safer right now, is because I haven't really had time to build up a lot of backup power-ups in my inventory. I only have the one right now. So I'm really trying to keep that one as long as I can, because I won't get another one until World 7. And there's going to be a point where like I might have like 3 P acorns in my inventory and it might seem like I have 3 backup power-ups, but 2 of those are actually important for the route. So I actually like don't want to use 2 of those. So this is another auto-scroller. Funny thing about both this one and the last one is you can actually skip them if you use the P acorn, but you will be unable to get one of the star coins. So unfortunately we kind of have to take them, but like I said, the auto-scrollers in this game are super quick. Other fun fact about this one is this bone coaster right here. I think a lot of people remember this from Mario Bros. Wii. But yeah, I just gotta be careful to not hit the poison, really. And then at the end of the level, I'm actually gonna do a spin jump off the bone coaster, and that's gonna let me conserve the extra speed from the bone coaster. And that's just a mechanic of spin jumps in general, is they let you conserve extra speed. It's not useful in like too many places, but it is used a little bit throughout the run. Something else that I haven't even talked about is sliding down slopes. You can actually slide down slopes, and that gives you a bit of increased speed as well. That helps me grab Nabbit a little bit quicker here. These Nabbit chases are pretty funny because you're really supposed to chase them throughout like the whole level. And I think the longest Nabbit chase is like 6 seconds. So, yeah. They go pretty quick.
It's like chasing the egg thieves in Spyro, if you're familiar with that. Like they're all like a 2-second egg thief catches a long one.
That's really funny. Yeah. I think that's just speedrunning in general, really.
Yeah, I suppose.
So I gotta be a little bit careful to not get hit here, but it's not too bad. 6 castles are really interesting levels. So I mentioned earlier, the levels with multiple exits, I have to do both, right? And so you would think, well, the levels that don't have multiple exits, I just have to do them once. However, 6 Castle is a special case. I actually can't get all 3 star coins in one go. So even though it only has 1 exit, I have to do it twice, which is kind of unfortunate. And they even give you the illusion that like all the coins are in the same room. However, if you actually look into the level maps of the game, this back entrance area is actually an entirely separate sub-area from the main room. They just create the illusion that it's all the same. It's very interesting. So what that basically means is there's no reason for us to look for a way to like try to clip to the back area because it wouldn't help. There's no coin back there. So I hope you guys like Roy because we're gonna fight him again. So I guess I didn't really mention it there. There was a little bit of RNG with those blocks that were kind of falling from the top of the screen, and that's also going to be relevant in this next time that I do the level. Now, the difference between the best and worst luck is like 1 second, so it's really not that big of a deal if I get bad luck. But, you know, hopefully it goes well. And also, I can run along that conveyor belt to just give myself a little bit of a speed boost. Okay, maybe not the best luck, but that's alright. And then at the end here, you're supposed to hit that switch right there, and these blocks will like start moving to the right, and you're supposed to wait on them, but you can just glide over it. And these Koopaling fights are like really interesting because I always know like where they're gonna pop up pretty much. But you have to be careful because where they're gonna pop up actually depends on what direction you are compared to them after you hit them the first time. So like, for example, here I get to the left of him because if I got to the right for him, he would actually pop up somewhere else. So you have to be careful with that. And then it's just about like counting how many times they go back and forth. Alright, so with that, I have completed my first world of the run. World 6, that is the first world I have 100% completed. And we're going to get a text box right now to confirm that, and if I don't, I need to see what I missed. So luckily we got the text box. So yeah, 1 world down, 8 to go.
I feel like nobody should ever ask speedrunners how to count because you really never know if 1 is going to be the first number or if it's going to be 6.
Nope. Nope. In this run, I can just give you the breakdown. It's 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of a weird way to count to 9, yeah.
Just a little, huh? So this is another really cool acorn level. I have to be a little careful. These ice bros, just like the fire bros, have some RNG with their movements. And I got pretty lucky there. There's also a tight jump right here. Okay, and we're through. So yeah, if I had gotten hit on this level, it would not have been a big deal at all. The next level has an acorn suit, so I would have just gotten that.
Made it.
The next level is a pretty easy Nabbit level. I know a lot of people like to ask, like, what are the levels where you lose, like, the least amount of time from grabbing the star coins? This is probably top 2. There's one other that's, you literally lose no time from grabbing all 3 coins, but this one, you have to do, like, a tiny little, like, left press, and that's it. Exactly the same otherwise. So this level is not too interesting, but the next one is actually really interesting. So the next one is 7 Tower. Very infamous for the any percent run in particular, for a couple of reasons. So 7 Tower features Fire Bros again, so like I said, there's some RNG. In the first room, I'm going to be trying to make a tight cycle to get to the second star coin, but of course the Fire Bro RNG kind of plays a part in that. And then we had the boss fight, but let me do the first room and then I'll talk about the boss fight. Oh man, well that's okay. So, because I got hit there, I'm gonna go ahead and grab an ice flower. And that still lets me do a pretty cool backup for the last star coin to actually save back some of the time that I'm gonna lose from not having the acorn. So ideally for the boss fight, I would have had acorn. The boss fight's against Kamek. And Kamek not only spawns in a random place for the first 2 hits, but also spawns a random block pattern that you can actually use to get to him. So a lot of randomness in that fight, and it is in the any percent run, which is super optimized. So I was able to throw that enemy there to get that 3rd star coin without actually having to go out of my way to get it. So I lost some time from losing Acorn Suit, but I could at least do that, which is cool. Unfortunately, fighting Kamek Acornless kind of sucks. The Acorn lets you kind of stay in the air with your ability to glide. Aw, I almost got him there. Well, that's okay. So it's actually raining here right now. I hope that's not too loud. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Aw, man. Yeah, so this is going a little slow, unfortunately. Not much I can do. Was hoping to get Acorn here. Yeah, this is kind of bad. Well. That's okay. Well, lost some time, but that's, I guess, a good demonstration of why you want to really try to keep your Acorn Suit up until the Kamek fight. That was particularly slow, I'm not gonna lie. But that's okay. So, not a big deal at all that I got hit because I can grab another power-up in this level. And just like that, I have Acorn again. Oh! Whoops.
Oh, secret.
Also, yes, this is on the Wii U. This next exit in the ghost house is actually really cool. This is another level where we're gonna go a little bit out of the way to grab a star, but it ends up being worth the time that it takes because of that speed increase that you get from it. And it just looks really sick. Oops. Whoops. So that would be a case of like, okay, I made a bit of a mistake there. I know I normally get an 80 at the end. Is that going to give me a 77? Now, in this case, I was actually too slow to get a 77, but it's just always something to be cognizant about. For those who weren't here when I explained it, you don't ever want to get a double digit when you hit the flagpole, a double digit on your timer, because you get a extra long level end cutscene. It's about 17 seconds longer. So I'm going to be trying to avoid those. And we call that fireworks. So I'm going to be trying to avoid fireworks. Now I got the next Nabbit chase here. This one's pretty cool. So you can actually, if you are sliding down a slope and you happen to run into Nabbit while you're in a sliding state, you actually stun him. So I'm going to be stunning him and then going back to grab him. Just like that. Alright, so 7-3 is a level where it's very revolved around like waiting on platforms and stuff. We don't have time for that, so we're going to be skipping over the first little platform section at the beginning with the acorn suit, of course. So just like that, we can get up there. And I can run along those platforms that move to the right to just get a little bit of a speed increase. It's not a big time save, but you know, every bit counts. And especially every bit counts in a level where it is actually pretty tight to skip those fireworks. And then again, here at the end, we can get off a little early. Oh man. If I had not gotten there in time, I would have had to die. So I'm glad that didn't happen. Okay, so now we're coming up on the biggest RNG point of the run. So this is Rainbow Bridge. I have to cross this bridge twice, but it's random if it will let me actually reach the levels I want. So right there, unfortunately, there were enemies blocking both levels I'm trying to reach, so I was unable to reach them, so I have to reload the bridge. Of course, it happened again. I think this is just a marathon luck sort of thing. Okay, this is actually, this is incredibly bad luck. Yeah, okay. So I've lost like 30 seconds already. I haven't even, gotten to go into my first level. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, first try. Interesting thing about the power-up that comes from that question block is it's actually random, but it's determined when you create your file. So when you're like first getting into runs, if you ever gets an acorn on that run, then you want to just like keep that file, and that'll actually allow you to get acorn from every run thereafter, because we start runs from a 0 file, not from like technically a new file, I guess. Because if you start from a new file, you have to watch a 2-minute intro cutscene, and no one wants that.
You made it.
So yeah, you can actually sort of manipulate the RNG, but it's not really manipulating it. I don't know, just a fun fact, but that is nice that you can consistently get acorn there. Yeah, not so lucky. So I'm trying to get to this bottom level now, so I'm gonna have to keep reloading the bridge until I can get there.
What would you say is like your average time loss just dealing with the random patterns here?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably getting like 2 extra reloads. So probably, I think that comes out to roughly like 16 to 20 seconds, depending on what patterns you get for the actual like bridge crossing itself, because sometimes it kind of takes you a roundabout way. But yeah, somewhere between like 16 to 20 seconds probably.
So it's already been pretty significantly longer than that, then it seemed like.
Yeah, no, this was much worse than average, but that's okay.
It happens.
It happens, and that is at least one of the nice things about doing the later worlds early that I was talking about earlier. We get to get this out of the way early, if you can consider 40 minutes in early. So I'm going to be quiet for this, but this is the biggest skip of the run. If I touch these snake blocks, the screen will start scrolling automatically, so I absolutely cannot do that. Okay. Not over. Now I need to set myself up perfectly to grab both of those coins in one glide, and we are through. That is the biggest and hardest skip of the run. So I'm super glad to get through that. Also, I apologize if the stream is lagging at all. I think I saw a few things in chat about that. It's raining here, so that probably has something to do with it. So 7 Castle is a cycle-based level. So I just need to make sure I make the right cycles here. The interesting thing though is that this part right here, I actually need to try to get close to this block as soon as I can, because that one actually doesn't start moving until you get close to it. And then that enemy right there, that dude has killed my runs, so gotta be careful with that guy. So our next boss is Ludwig, and Ludwig is supposed to be the next RNG boss. His gimmick is basically he makes 2 clones of himself, and you have to guess which is the real one. And if you actually are playing casually, like, there is a way to guess that. He does shoot out magic from his wand, and the real Ludwig shoots out 3 magic balls. We don't even have to deal with that RNG, because we can just fly up and hit him immediately. And then pretty much keep him stun locked down here. Also, it might seem like I kind of hit these Koopalings a little late sometimes. Like, you might think, oh wow, I'm like really slow. Like, I'm waiting way after they pop out of their shell. And the weird thing with Koopalings is, like, some of them, they're not actually able to be hit until like well after they pop out of their shell. Like, if you try to do it any earlier, for example on Ludwig, if I try to go any earlier, I would have actually just taken damage. But then there's other Koopalings like Iggy, where you can just hit them pretty much the instant they pop out. So it's very interesting. You just have to know which ones you can be riskier with and which ones you can't. So 7 Airship has another cool little skip at the beginning here. You're supposed to wait on this like cloud, and you're supposed to deal with this giant Bowser hand that's trying to crush you. We don't have time for that. So now that I got the first star coin, I'm just gonna make my way to the end of the first room. So I see someone asked in chat why not the Switch version. I will answer that question right after this level. But first I just want to talk about Bowser Jr. This is a really interesting fight and another good example of you cannot hit this guy when it looks like you can hit him. But this is like an extreme example of it. Like you have to wait multiple seconds later than what you would think. And you're gonna see it. He's gonna pop out. I have to wait all the way until right now to hit him. Basically when his clown car starts moving again. So yeah, that was a pretty much perfect Bowser Jr. And then right at the end of the fight, I actually fly off to the left side of the screen and try to land on the leftmost block, because right here they fall from left to right. And you want Luigi to hit the bottom of the screen sooner, because this next cutscene is triggered by Luigi hitting the bottom of the screen. So that actually does save time. Okay, so I'll answer two questions from chat right now. Someone says, is this a special mode that sets the timer to 100 seconds? So this is New Super Luigi U, which is like the DLC for Mario U. So it's all of the same, it's like the same world map, the same boss fights, but all the levels are changed and they all have a 100-second time limit. That's kind of the gimmick of the game. The other question was, why am I not running on the Switch version? So not only does the Switch version have slower load times, but for 100%, the Switch version is just generally worse. For whatever reason on the Switch version, when you play as Nabbit, the game doesn't count the level towards 100%ing the game. So the only cases where you can use Nabbit is levels that have multiple exits. You can use Nabbit for one of the exits, but then you have to use another character for the other exit. So you barely get to use Nabbit at all in that run. It's just a lot like less safe. It's fun in its own way. I've done a little bit of runs on the Switch, but it's different and it's harder. So I just prefer the Wii U version, in addition to it just having faster load times and being faster. With that being said, the Switch version is not bad for speedrunning. For any other category, it's great, in my opinion. And 100% is great too, it's just not the same. 8-1 is another level where I'm going to be splitting up these coins, so you'll see me ignoring the first two there. And that's because these moving platforms are on cycles here. And so I wanted to get to the ending at a specific time so I could do the movement that I did there. Have everything go very quickly and smoothly.
Along the lines of the version you're playing, I was actually curious as well. Are you using like a Wii U gamepad, or are you using a Wii U Pro controller or something else?
I am using my gamepad.
The full
here.
gamepad.
Yep. No, it was definitely weird to get used to, because I started on the Switch version using like a Pro controller, and then I switched over to the Wii U and I was like, wow, this feels bulky. But after a few days, I was like, oh, this is not that bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I did some Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze speedrunning on Wii U.
Oh,
so,
nice. That is a cool game. Oops. Yeah, that is a really cool game. In fact, I was talking about like how 100% is way harder on the Switch version. But like every other category is arguably easier, because on the Switch version, you can actually swap characters between like Luigi, Toad, Toadette. You can actually, they actually have separate power-up states, so you can actually put different power-ups on different characters, and you can actually put Acorn on multiple characters, and then if like one character loses Acorn, you could just switch to another character, so it's like not a big deal to get hit.
Oh.
So the Switch version's not bad for like getting into this game at all.
That's pretty convenient, yeah.
It is very convenient, yeah. So this is another big skip that we can do with the Acorn. And Just like that, we're at the end. That was supposed to be an auto-scroller. You're supposed to wait on that, like, I don't even know what it's called. Bone coaster, I think. We don't need to do any of that. So I talked about earlier how even though Nabbit is not able to get hit, he can still die if you hit lava. Well, this level's a good example of that. This level's scary. Oops. Alright, we made it through. That can be an easy level to die in. I think there tends to be the misconception that like all the levels you play as Nabbit are just like the really easy ones, but that's actually not the case in a lot of the time. Like, not only are there levels like that where it can be hard to like save yourself from hitting lava, but you can also fall in pits as Nabbit, so Nabbit really like pushes your platforming skills a lot, even if you can't get hit. Versus like Luigi, a lot of times you can just glide over hard sections. So this level has a cycle at the end. I should be making it so I can get this star coin before the blocks appear above me. And then I crouch jumped into that pipe, so I'm going to be doing that for pretty much every upward pipe in the run. For whatever reason, whenever you enter an upward pipe, it's actually faster to crouch into it. I think it's because Luigi's hitbox is smaller as you're going into the pipe. So it's like I guess there's less of Luigi to enter the pipe, if that makes any sense. But it saves maybe like 0.2 seconds. Alright, so we're supposed to ride these platforms here. That's slow. Getting hit is also slow. But we can still skip them. I can actually still skip this last one with regular Luigi. I will try to do it. Sort of. I mean, I didn't really lose that much time. Yeah, NSMBU, so like the levels in this game are kind of based off of the ones in NSMBU, so NSMBU also has an elevator level, but that one is like a vertical level, and oh my gosh, is that level hard to speedrun. We got it easy in NSLU, honestly. So, going into 8 Castle, this level features Bowser Jr., and Bowser Jr.'s movements are actually based on yours, so any mistake you make, this level's going drastically differently. On top of that, I'm going for a very tight cycle with coin number 2. So unfortunately, I'm not going to get it because I messed up. So we're going to have to improvise, but it's fine. I can improvise. Well, that's okay. I lost like a few seconds, but the important thing is I didn't die. The really bad thing about dying in this level in particular is that it is completely different every time after the first time you do it. Because the first time it plays this little cutscene of Bowser Jr. entering, and he kind of starts from a different position. But the second time it doesn't play that cutscene, so all the platform cycles are off, Bowser Jr. is in a different place, it's horrible. So now we have our final boss. And that was the final boss. No, there's actually there's a phase 2. That I don't even know why they made phase 1 so easy. I didn't really mention it, but one of the differences between Luigi U and Mario U is they gave Luigi a higher jump. So you can just straight up jump over that guy. You don't even need like the acorn suit or anything. Just regular Luigi, you can just jump over him. But in Mario U, all you need to have is the acorn suit, and you can just do a spin jump right over him. They really should have just made him a little bit taller, but I mean, whatever, I'm not complaining. So, Final Bowser is very interesting, actually. There's a couple strats I'm going to be doing on this fight. The first one is called Fireball Skip. Normally at the start of the fight, he shoots out 2 fireballs. However, if I fly up right in front of his face, after he shoots the first one, I can actually skip the second one. That's the first strat, and the second one I'll kind of talk about as I do it, so it makes more sense. Yeah, this is a really cool final boss. I like this guy. Except when he kills my run. But yeah, just like that, we skip the second fireball. And now, the next strat I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be trying to keep Bowser in the middle of the arena. For whatever reason, you can actually skip him doing a jump. He would normally do another jump after this, but instead he just pops out. And you can skip him doing that jump by keeping him in the middle of the arena. The other important thing is that I take the time to just hit Bowser Jr. before going back into the clown car. It doesn't actually lose any time to do that, and it guarantees that he won't jump up in the air and take it back from you, which is disastrous. Getting knocked out of the clown car in this fight can lose like 30 seconds, so do not want that to happen. So yeah, first, I guess half or so of the run is basically done. So just kind of to recap, we did a little bit of World 1, we did a little bit of World 5, and then we did all of World 6, all of World 7, all of World 8. So the ending worlds are done now. So we're going to kind of go back and clean up the early game. That's kind of our next goal. And then after that, we can head to World 9 once everything is unlocked. For those who don't know, the levels in World 9 are unlocked based on your world completion. So like completing 100% completing World 1, that unlocks 9-1. 100%ing World 2 unlocks 9-2, etc. So I need to 100% all of the worlds before I head to World 9 so that everything's actually unlocked.
What? Oh, yeah.
So with that being said, this is actually a really good time if anybody wants to take a bathroom break or go refill their water or whatever. We have a couple minutes here because we do have to unfortunately sit through the credits. So yeah, that would be a good time.
If you'd like, I could let people know about some of the things going on.
Yeah, you should completely do that. Yeah, go ahead.
Sure thing. Yeah. So obviously we got One-and-Done-athon going on right now. For anybody who's tuning in a little bit after the intro, we'll have speedruns all day today. And the whole idea of One-and-Done-athon here is that everybody gets one submission, one run, and then they can never run in One-and-Done-athon ever again. So people are showing off their passion projects and some really fun games and categories here. And up next weekend, we have Frame Fatales coming up August 21st to the 27th, like I was saying, next weekend. And the marathon schedule is out for Frame Fatales. Please be sure to check that out and tune in next weekend. !FF in chat will get you the information for Flame Fatales, and you can go to gamesdonequick.com/Frame Fatales if you want more information about this all-women speedrunning community and the upcoming event. The prize submissions are open through today, I believe, so you can check out the site if you are interested in donating a prize to Frame Fatales. And then, of course, if you want to check out bite-sized highlights of the hotfix content we get going on throughout the week, the year, the months, you could use !highlights in Twitch chat to learn more about that second channel.
Nice. I just wanted to answer a quick question from chat about why I'm doing the world in such a weird order. I mean, I already told you the order was weird, and I'll just recap it for anyone who didn't hear it. The world order that you finish the worlds in is 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 4, 3, 5, 9. So, very strange order. When was in World 7, I did a level 7 airship, right? And there was a cutscene that played before 7 airship. So there's another airship in World 5, and normally when you would go there, you would get another really long cutscene like that before you start the airship. But if you play the one in World 7 first, the cutscene in World 5 just doesn't play. So that's one of the big reasons we actually go to World 7 really early. Another one is also just the power-up routing. You're gonna kind of see that pretty soon as why it works to knock out the late game stuff first. The beginning of this run and the beginning and middle really are very revolved around the acorn, but towards the end we're gonna actually switch to a different power-up that I won't spoil yet. So it just works out better for power-up routing. And then reason number 3 is because once you beat Bowser, all of the game's save prompts are cleared. So like whenever you finish like a tower, castle, or whatever, usually it would ask you, do you want to save? Well, it no longer asks you that after you've already beaten the game, and that's because it gives you the availability to save at any time you want. So now I don't have any more save prompts for the rest of the game, and that actually saves a whole bunch of time. So yeah, this route has been reworked so many times, but this is the best thing we've come up with. There's technically a small route change that was figured out like 2 days ago that could be faster, but it's like not super viable for runs because it involves doing a level with a power-up that's not exactly ideal, and it's possible, but it's not very viable, I will say, and it only saves like maybe a second. So for now, I'm running on the most reasonable route that we have. And we still got about a minute. These credits are pretty long. You can actually collect the coins if you want. I'd be curious what the highest score anybody has gotten on these credits is. Other fun thing you can do is you can push all the all your characters into the corner here. You can just like throw them on top of each other, and then you can start jumping on them. Yeah, not too much to do here though.
Like you said, though, it's at least kind of nice to have a break if you're doing a long session of runs, and especially with just a platformer that you got to be executing on so much for over 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. It's really nice. I usually take a bathroom break during the credits. It's just like, it's really nice to kind of break it up, because sitting there for 2 hours just trying to, do all these really hard levels, that can be really intensive. So it's really nice to get that little break. About halfway into. Fun fact, the old route before this one, the credits were like exactly halfway into the run, like exactly. It was really interesting how that worked out. With this newer one, they're a little bit less than halfway in, but it's still good.
Yahoo!
Okay, so now we have a pretty cool trick coming up. So I'm going to equip my P acorn, and this next level has a P acorn exclusive skip that you can do, and I think you guys are gonna like this one. Here's this first coin. I saved it till now, and now we can do this. So we don't have to even go in the underground area. We can just go right to the end. There are actually multiple of these within the game, but this is the only one that you can do and still be able to grab all the star coins. So it's very nice that this gets to be in the run. I think Super Mario Bros. 3 also has some skips that are kind of like that. So it's kind of a cool little reference. All right, and now we're coming up on, in my opinion, probably the hardest vertical level of the game, One-Tower. When you beat the game, you get these blocks that are like a red M blocks, and they give you Mario physics, but they also just get in your way. Luckily, it didn't happen there. But yeah, that is going to be something I have to look out for throughout the second half, is those red M blocks. So luckily for this level, there were no issues. That actually went extremely well. I'm really happy with that. That is one of the hardest levels. think this Boom Boom fight in World 1 is the only one that doesn't have a gimmick. I think this is just supposed to be like the normal one, but we don't really see the gimmick in the other ones anyway because we kill him so fast. So they all seem kind of the same. So I mentioned earlier spin jumps have a property where they let you conserve extra speed, and that's going to be useful in 1-3. 1-3 features these rolling hills, and you can spin jump to keep the extra speed from the rolling hills, and also knock that shell into the coin, which is quite cool. But the end of this level actually features a really hard strat, where I'm going to just barely grab the star coin out of the air. I'm supposed to take that POW block and throw it at the ground and knock the coin down so I can get it from there, but instead, I can miss the coin. Well, that's okay. So I'm going to have to replay the level, unfortunately. Like I said, that's a pretty hard strat. So, hope you like 1-3. But yeah, I'm gonna go for that again. But of course, I don't need to grab the other coins this time around. I can just book it to the end and try to grab the coin. So yeah, this is pretty tight. You can actually do a triple jump to this coin, but I will explain why that loses time in just a second. Oh, well. So the reason doing a triple jump loses time is because you don't want to triple jump into flagpoles. For whatever reason, when you're in a triple jump state, you can't actually turn left. And so, like I said earlier, turning left before the flagpole is what makes the Nabbit flagpole animation so fast. But you can't get that if you triple jump into a flagpole, so you never want to triple jump into flagpoles. I'm not actually sure if that loses time as Luigi, but I just try not to do it anyway. But as Nabbit, it loses time. Okay, there we go, first try. So, that's kind of funny. I wasn't expecting to fail that twice, but that's okay.
In the realm of mistakes that could happen, that seems like a pretty okay one.
Yeah, that's a pretty minor one. You just re-enter the level, try again. No big deal. So this level is not too interesting. I do want to mention, like, there's another category actually, 100% Luigi only. I do want to start putting in more work on that one soon, once I get a little more consistent. But yeah, some of these levels that are like super easy as Nabbit, they're just like completely different in that category because you can only use Luigi. You gotta make sure you aren't getting hit. It's much harder. But in the case of this run, I don't really have to worry about it. This is another cycle-based level. It's also one that kind of puts your platforming to the test. This is actually one of those interesting cases. There are a few levels where it's kind of up to you which character you want to use. This one is pretty much the same speed as both characters. So that is kind of interesting. And some people just prefer doing it as Luigi. I just prefer Nabbit because I can't get hit. So, yeah. So we're going into one castle now. Something really interesting that I want to talk about is door entries, and that might seem like a really weird topic to cover, but I promise it's relevant. So this game has a couple different types of doors, and in particular the ones in towers and castles, they look exactly the same, but like the ones in towers are red, the ones in castles are blue. And you would think they work exactly the same, but they don't. So for tower doors, you just need to be like touching the center of the door, like maybe even the right side of Luigi's kind of touching the middle, and you'll just walk in instantly. Like as soon as you pressed up, Luigi will just walk in instantly. For castle doors, even though they look exactly the same and they're just blue, you actually need to enter it pixel perfectly in the middle in order to get a perfect door, which makes no sense. So like right there, like if that was a tower door, I would have entered instantly, but because it's a castle door, he has to walk to the middle. it's really strange that that's even a mechanic. I don't really know why that exists, but it's just something you get used to. Now we have another pretty easy Koopaling fight. Just like the other ones, I'm going to be running into a certain direction after I hit him to make sure he always pops up at the same time. So for Lemmy, I just run to the left. And then Lemmy is another one where you can't hit him instantly. Like, if I had gone any earlier there, I would have taken damage. So yeah, we are done with World 1 now. We have finished 4 worlds out of 9. And that is actually pretty much the halfway point. We're a little more than halfway in, but pretty much halfway point. And then, like, every time I finish a world, I always wait for that text box, the one that says, you got all the star coins, because if I don't get that, I need to very quickly figure out what I missed. Luckily, I can always open up the pause menu, and it actually tells you which star coins you have. That's super nice. Like, if that does happen during this run, I'm just going to open up the pause menu, see what I'm missing. Yeah, I would say it's pretty rare, but I have occasionally missed a coin. So these spiked enemies that we saw earlier in the runs, or the spikes, they're back. So even though Nabbit can't take damage, those spiked balls that they throw out, if I run into those, I still get knocked backwards and slowed down, and we don't want that. So yes, Nabbit can't take damage, but he still does have that knockback effect on certain enemies. Another one of those enemies is actually coming up in the next level. I forget what they're called. Those big, like, spiked balls. Nabbit can also not run into those or else you will get the knockback. It's interesting because that knockback is actually the reason we use Luigi in certain levels to just damage boost rather than try to run through with Nabbit and get knocked backwards. It's pretty cool. This level also features a tight cycle. So hopefully I get that. Coming up here at the end. Alright, so as we get back to the world map, I want to draw everyone's attention to kind of the top right part of the screen. There's this bridge, and there's 2 enemies on the bridge, and there's 1 acorn. So when you enter World 2, all of those enemies and the acorn, they start off in the same place, but every time you move on the world map, they move somewhere random. So in 2 levels here, I'm going to have to cross that bridge, and I'm going to have to hope I don't hit any of them. So that's going to be fun. With how the luck has gone so far in this run, my hopes are not very high, but we'll see what happens. I was talking earlier about levels where it doesn't lose time to get the star coins, and this is the only one, as far as I know, where you can get all 3 star coins in 0 time. So that's pretty cool. Fun fact, one of my practice runs for this marathon, I actually forgot to grab that coin right there, and I was on record pace until I forgot that coin. That was kind of funny. So we're going to 2 Tower, another very cool vertical acorn level. This one features these, like, screws that you have to spin, and those screws basically make these platforms come out from the walls. You'll see it right now. And of course, we want to minimize how much you spin to try to optimize the level as best I can. Oops. So that was not maybe the best decision, but that's okay. So unfortunately, gonna have to take it a little slow, but no big deal. I still have plenty of backup acorns in my inventory right now, so no big deal. This Boom Boom Fright right here I know gives a lot of people trouble when they're first learning the game because it can be really weird to try to figure out how to jump on him the first time. So there's like 4 windows here, and I look at the top right of the 3rd one, and that's where I aim my first jump. And usually it works out. That's what I'm gonna do. And just like that, I landed right on him, and then I just wait for him to stop shaking his head, and that's my indicator that I can jump on him again. And that's the same for every Boom Boom. So now we're coming up on the bridge crossing. I'm gonna go ahead and equip my backup acorn right now. So fingers crossed, hopefully this goes well, but it is all random. So, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't really want that acorn, but since it is like, since it is a marathon run, I don't necessarily mind. Obviously, like, it has a little cutscene tied to it. It loses like 6 seconds, but for like a marathon, that doesn't really matter. And especially if I'm gonna immediately lose my acorn, it is quite nice that I just got another one. So, I probably won't use that propeller, but there is a chance I might use it for like a damage boost somewhere or something like that. So maybe not entirely useless. The 2-4 is really cool. This is another case where the way I split up the star coins, or I guess I haven't really talked about this. Oops. The way you split up the star coins is actually important, but not because it actually loses time necessarily to like do it on the other exit. It's more so because if I split up the star coins in a certain way, I could actually end up getting fireworks on this exit. So I have to get all 3 to ensure that I don't get fireworks. I apologize if that was confusing. Basically, let's say I grabbed only star coins 2 and 3 on this exit, I would run the risk of getting fireworks. I don't want that, so it's important I just grab all 3. 1-2 is the other level like that. So now we have another rolling hill level. Luckily this one doesn't have any crazy hard star coin grabs that I'm going to have to repeat the level for. So we just get to spin jump off of these, keep our extra speed, and have fun. Interesting thing is, like, for this level in particular, Luigi, when you spin jump off of them, you can actually keep your momentum even further because you have the ability to glide and stay in the air for longer. However, this last star coin right here, you would have to damage boost as Luigi, so it's not worth the damage boost. Because if you're going to damage boost, then you have to open up your inventory, equip another acorn, and it's just not faster that way. And this is another case where the route we do might seem kind of weird and roundabout, but it's because the Nabbit chase for this world is in 2-6, the level I just did right now. Oops. And so we kind of need to clear that one out of the way, because the way the Nabbit chases work is you have to clear the level that Nabbit's going to appear in, so in this case 2-6, and then you need to either beat 3 levels, or taking a death also kind of counts, but basically enter and exit a level 3 times. Whether you beat it or die, doesn't really matter. So I need to get 2-6 out of the way and then beat 3 more levels, and then by the time I make my way around there again, Nabbit's going to be in 2-6. So yeah, it seems like a little bit weird, but it works out. 2 Secret is another level that contains these fire bros, so there's a little bit of RNG I have to deal with here. It's usually not too bad. Also, you can spin jump off those ladders, which is really sick. Alright. So, actually got good RNG for once in this round. And made it through cleanly.
Phew, made it. Oh.
Alright, so next level is another cool little platforming level we get to do with Nabbit. I like the Nabbit levels. I mean, I feel like with Luigi, like, he's really cool, but sometimes you miss out on, like, the platforming aspect. And, like, this game's it's a platformer, a 2D platformer. So it's kind of fun to have those levels sometimes. And this is another one where the spiked balls that these enemies throw out, you do not want to hit these or you get that knockback, and a lot of the times that ends up in a death. Another little optimization I'm going to do here, these platforms moving to the right, I'm going to try to run along them just to get a small speed boost. Doesn't save a whole lot of time, but it's pretty easy to do, so there's no real reason not to. Alright, so into our next Nabbit chase. This is another one where we can get so far ahead of him that he basically just falls into our arms. And you'll kind of get to see how Luigi interacts with these rolling hills. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I can just keep all that speed. Alright, so we're going into 2 Castle. It's like another cycle-based level, another level with lava, so you gotta be careful here. And in particular, I need to be careful on the second coin, because I have to be pretty close to the lava for that coin. But yeah, luckily with the acorn suit, we're able to skip a lot of the waiting you would normally have to do here. Oops. Oh, whoops. Oh my gosh. That would have been tragic if I accidentally entered the door. Alright. So, Morton is the next boss coming up. And Morton is really interesting. So, Morton swings this hammer, and I need to hit him before he swings the hammer, and doing so is actually really tight. So I'm actually going to do a ground pound a little bit to the left of him, and then hold right during my ground pound, and that actually gets me a little bit further right, so I can just barely land on the left side of him before he swings his hammer. So, yeah, luckily that went well. Because that can be a pretty easy place to get hit. So, yeah, World 2 is done. We now have 5 out of 9 worlds completed. Hopefully. Assuming I get this text box here that I completed World 2. I guess we'll see in a couple seconds. So, after World 2, you actually get the option to either go up to World 4 or down to World 3, and just because of the way the power-up routing works out, it ends up being faster to go to World 4 first. So, our next world is going to be World 4. I know y'all have been enjoying these vertical acorn levels, and we still have a few pretty cool ones coming up, but the acorn is nearing its end, unfortunately. It's had its run, but it's moving on to bigger and better things. But before that, we have this level, and this is a very good vertical level, which also features RNG bruisers, which are these enemies. So I had to be very careful with these guys because they do move around randomly. Alright. Very easy to get hit in that level, so that went very well.
Made it.
Yeah, I'll just spoil it now. The secret power-up, I'm actually going to be using Mini Mushroom for the rest of the run. Sorry, you guys figured it out. So, that's a joke, by the way. This level's pretty cool. So this third star coin in this level is the grab on it is just tight. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm just gonna show it. Alright. That jump is kind of hard. I have lost runs there. Alright, but we do have one last good acorn level to kind of close it out. There are technically two more we do as acorn, but it doesn't matter so much for the last level. So one last tower to close it out. Well, oops. Yeah, you gotta be very careful with these icicles, but you can skip a few of these platforms with the acorn suit, which is nice. So that like doesn't matter. So because I got hit there, this is actually gonna be my last acorn level. It'll be faster to just do the next one as Nabbit. So rip acorn. Does anyone have any guesses as to what the secret power-up is going to be that I'm going to use for the rest of the run? Also, I don't think this Boom Boom actually has any kind of gimmick. I think the only gimmick is that he's on ice, which doesn't really change anything about the fight.
I think the secret power-up you're going to use is you're going to steal Cappy from Super Mario Odyssey. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
You figured it out. Figured it out, yeah.
Just mod it into the Wii U, famously moddable console Wii U.
Exactly. The power-up's actually Nabbit. We're actually using Nabbit. No, I'm kidding. That would be funny, though. So if I had Acorn, I would have been able to skip this P-switch right here. But it doesn't lose too much. Oops, doesn't lose too much time to just hit it. It loses less time to hit that P-switch than to open up my inventory and equip another Acorn. And there's no reason to do that when this is the last Acorn level to run anyway. So, yeah. Now we're gonna get the power up. Are y'all ready for this? So it's the penguin suit. Everyone knows the penguin suit. The penguin suit's really cool. Penguin suit, you actually get this faster slide speed, and that's going to be used everywhere. In addition to that, you can slide on water, which is pretty useful, and the biggest advantage to penguin suit is increased swimming speed, which is super important at this point in the run. In addition to that, it has the same ability as the Ice Flower to be able to freeze enemies. And of course that's important because you can freeze an enemy and throw it into a star coin just the same way you can with shells, and it'll count as you collecting it. So yeah, Penguin is very useful. So I could have actually done a penguin slide earlier there, but I would have gotten a 55 on the timer. So that's why I waited. I'm not gonna lie, when I said the penguin suit is really cool, I wasn't trying to make a pun, but I'll just pretend it was intentional. So these platforms are really interesting here. Landing on one of them kind of makes the other move. So you have to be careful with that. Yeah, I kind of messed it up. You can actually have it so that that platform there isn't in your way, but that's okay. This star coin scares me. Okay. I have lost runs there, so it's always nice to get through that coin. We used to do this level with Acorn. And that was easier, but by doing 4-5 before 4-4, we can actually skip this Acorn here. Like you see this Acorn that's kind of going in a circle with the penguin. We used to think you had to pick that up, like there was no way to avoid it, and then we figured out a way to do it fast. And it meant switching 4-5 and 4-4. But yeah, now we can do that, which is cool. Oops. I gotta just be very careful here. This is a cycle-based level that's not very forgiving. If you mess up at all, cycles, they just keep moving along, so you have to adjust. So we did one exit there, and then we're gonna do the secret exit and get the coin that we missed. I will say, like, because Luigi U levels are supposed to be like so short, the ghost houses tend to not really have like secret exits that are that difficult to find. Like I know in some of the other games they're like big puzzle levels. In this game they're, well, okay, this one's not that easy to find, but they're usually not that hidden. Maybe that was a bad example. So these blocks will disappear after you jump off of them, so if you somehow don't reach that coin, you're kind of screwed. Now, luckily I didn't mess that up, otherwise we would have had a repeat of earlier, but that went well. Now you're going to get to see the penguin suit in action. It's going to pick up more once I get into World 3 especially, but it does apply a little bit here as well. On normal ground and on water, penguin suit will like lose speed over time, like with your sliding, but on ice, or snow rather, it doesn't. So I can actually just keep the super fast speed going for this level, which is really cool. Okay, I'm glad I got through that because that icicle is very easy to hit. So yeah, now we can just keep the super fast speed going. I mean, this actually saves like 4 or 5 seconds over doing this. Is like nab it. Like that speed increase is so drastic. And that's a big part of the reason why we want to keep this power up for as long as we can. Now here I'm going to delay a little bit before I walk to Floor Castle, or else I would hit those penguins. That's part of like learning this, is you have to know how the penguin cycles work in World 4 to make sure you never run into them. And if you do, then you just kind of learn from it. This level right here, I like to say this one kind of reminds me of like a Mario Maker level in the way it's designed. You're basically designed to just run and jump through it the way I am doing now. Because the level practically destroys itself behind you. Alright, so we're coming up on Wendy. So Wendy's a really weird boss because where she pops up is sort of consistent, but it's like sort of inconsistent too. Like she pops up in around the same area every time, but it's not exactly the same. So my strategy for Wendy is basically I do a big jump in the air and then kind of just try to land on her as she pops out, or after she pops out. You'll see it right now. It's a bit annoying. Not really sure why she's like that. But in a 100% run, it's usually not a big deal if you lose a second or something to messing up a hit. I mean, it's a 2-hour run. Alright, so that went really well. So you might think I'm done with World 4, but there's actually one thing we forgot. And you'll see it in just a second. So hopefully I get this text box here that says I got all the star coins.
Ho-ho!
Alright, that's reassuring. So the thing we forgot was the Nabbit chase. And like I could have done this earlier, and I think wouldn't have really lost time on like map movement necessarily, but it's important that I do this as Penguin. So I waited till after I had the Penguin suit in order to do this and have it chase, because I have that increased speed that I can just hit him real fast like that. And now we are done with World 4. So one last penguin to avoid here, just gotta slow down a little bit so he doesn't hit me. And now is where we're really gonna see the penguin suit action picking up. So 3-1 is really interesting. It has like these geysers, and they're on a cycle, so I have to be very careful, because if I mess up, things can get very off cycle very quickly. For this first star coin also, I'm going to be freezing an enemy and then throwing it into the coin. If you listen closely, you'll hear it grab the coin. Alright, cool. And then now is where you're going to see the increased swim speed. And that's just so drastic, like, we can't pass up on Penguin for that reason. And that just saves a little bit of time in that sub area, but in these coming water levels, it's going to save a lot. So yeah, when I'm on water, I'm going to try to do a bunch of jumps because I don't want to lose my speed. Doing jumps allows me to lose speed a lot slower. Okay, and then this is the biggest time save with Penguin. If I at least get through this, that will at least be like the biggest chunk of time save I can get with Penguin. I won't be too heartbroken if I lose it after this. Well... Oops. That's rather interesting. I'm gonna have to be very careful. Oh my gosh. So that's kind of unfortunate. Now here's the thing, there's actually a backup Penguin suit coming pretty soon. I just unfortunately didn't really get to use Penguin for this level. But that's okay, there's another pretty long underwater one we're gonna hopefully get to see Penguin in.
We can all just imagine in the meantime.
Just imagine it, yeah. Oh well, it happens. So, yeah, 3 Tower is a Nabbit level. I think you're going to see very quickly why this is an Abbott level. Lots of potential damage to be taken here if you use Luigi. So running off of that platform to grab the first coin is actually harder than it looks. You can't just like buffer it. You have to actually time it, or else it won't work. I will say, like in the Luigi only speedrun, this is actually a really cool level because you look really cool just like dodging all the enemies and fireballs and all that stuff. So I think this Boom Boom is actually exactly the same as World 3 and maybe World 1 as well. Actually, I think the World 3 and 4 ones do that jump at the start of the fight, so I guess that's a little different than World 1. But yeah, it's a pretty standard fight. I think that's our last Boom Boom fight, so rip. This next level, World 3 Ghost House, I would have done this with the Penguin, but doing it as Nabbit only loses like maybe 4 seconds. So not a big deal. Using the Penguin here would have allowed me to kind of slide on the water and save some time, but it's not a big deal. And then again, I'm gonna crouch jump into the upward pipe, and that decreases my hitbox and makes the pipe animation a little shorter. So for anyone who is missing Penguin Suit, we're gonna get it back now. I talked about earlier I might use that propeller for something. I'm gonna basically just use that to power myself up now so that I can get another Penguin Suit. So we get to see propeller for like 2 seconds, which is cool. This is more worth it to throw away that power up than maybe an acorn. Alright, so yeah, I'm gonna keep my penguin sliding here for a while. This is a level definitely built for Penguin Suit. Oh man. Okay, so I kind of lost it again, which kind of sucks. However, there is another backup, so no worries.
This penguin just doesn't want to happen for me.
It really does not, but luckily I know all the backups. So there's like 2 more backups, so like hopefully it works out at some point. I'm just gonna keep trying.
It's the important thing about like longer runs and 100% runs and stuff is knowing all the backups, I feel like.
Yeah, I probably put more time into like practicing backup strategies than like the normal ones, I feel like. In a lot of cases.
Not a bad play.
Yeah, it's very important to know them. Like, there is almost always a backup you can do if something goes wrong. Like, something that goes wrong that doesn't result in, like, death or something like that. So yeah, this would have been a penguin level, but, that's okay. The backup for this is actually pretty cool, so maybe not even a bad thing that I get to show it off. Oh, I actually have a penguin emote. I'm gonna put it in chat. There we go. So, I guess any acorn fans, we actually get to see the acorn again briefly, which is gonna be cool. So this is the next little auto-scroller. I think this might be the longest one. Actually, no, I think there's one that's slightly longer. But long auto scroller in NSLU is not very long. And we get to see Yoshi. This is our only level where we get to see Yoshi, so I hope everyone enjoys Yoshi while we have him. So the strat I do for this level is more so revolved around Yoshi than around Penguin, so it's going to be pretty much the same thing I would have done with Penguin anyway. So we're not really missing out on anything here. And then the next levels is where I'm gonna do my backup. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have done with Penguin Suit. That jump for the star coin is a lot tighter than it looks. To actually be able to make it back to the leaf without dying. Also, we kind of pulled a Super Mario World there and just like jumped off Yoshi to save ourselves, but I mean, what else do you expect in a speedrun at this point?
You always gotta leave Yoshi behind. It's
the way of the speedrun. It really is. I'm pretty sure you can't even take him into the next level anyway. I think he just like says goodbye to you at the flagpole, like once you hit the flagpole, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Alright, so now we get to show off a pretty cool backup. This would normally be a Nabbit level, but I'm going to do it as Luigi because I need my Penguin Suit back. So this is another cycle-based level, so first I'm going to damage boost to just get this coin, and then I'm going to grab a shell because I had to wait for a cycle anyway, so I use that time to grab a shell. Now I can grab these red coins, which give me Penguin Suit back, and then I can throw the shell to get star coin number 2.
Oh, that was super neat. Was the cycle you were waiting on the water for the red coins?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
So now we have Penguin Suit for the 3rd time. Maybe it'll work out this time. I believe.
I believe. Third time's the charm.
I think that's been the theme of this run. No, I think it kind of has.
Yeah, a little bit.
So I think this is our fastest Nabbit chase, the very last one too. Because we have Penguin Suit, so it means we can get him really fast. Now I actually have to slide along the water a little bit here to actually decrease my speed enough that it lets me unmorph out of the sliding state, so I can turn back and grab Nabbit. It's very interesting, because if you're going too fast, it won't actually let you press up to go back to a normal running state. You just stay in the sliding state and you just like ram into an enemy, so be very careful there. Alright, that is all the Nabbits done. So this last water level, unfortunately to make this one fast with Penguin, I'd have to do like a damage boost. I don't really want to do that because I want to keep my Penguin Suit, so I'm going to do it as Nabbit instead. It loses a few seconds compared to Penguin, but it saves time overall. So I'm actually going to use the knockback effect to my advantage here to try to get knocked to the right. So that actually saves some time there. And here at the end, you can just kind of like swim through this guy, but you do get the knockback on him as well. And so it takes a lot of time. So it's actually just faster to lure the dragon into the urchin and just take it out that way. All right.
It's fun to be able to pick up on the small things over the course of this run now, like the fact that you delayed a little bit at the end there to avoid getting a triple jump.
Yes, exactly.
Going into the flagpole.
Exactly. It's just like muscle memory at this point. Like I never want to triple jump into flagpoles. Never ever, because you can't turn left and save that time on the animation. All right, so we got another penguin level. Another one where this has an underwater section, so we're going to be saving a lot of time with Penguin Suit. So these torpedoes here, when they blow up, that has a hitbox, like the smoke. So if I were to hit that smoke there, even though the torpedoes already had blown up, I would have gotten hit. So you have to be really careful on those. So able to avoid that, luckily. And now we have the final Koopaling boss, Larry. This is honestly pretty uninteresting. The one cool thing about this fight, I guess, is that this has the geysers that come up from the ground. So there's kind of a like cool little strat you can do that doesn't actually save any time, but you can wait on top of the geyser and have him come to you. I'll just try to show it off. So yeah, like I'm gonna wait right here. And the geyser is actually just gonna push him up into me at the right time. It's pretty funny. Just like that. And then this is another case where I need to delay more than you would think on the last hit. If I had gone any earlier there, I would have lost my penguin suit.
I'm a winner.
Okay, so like I talked about earlier, big part of the reason we do the later worlds first and then come back is this level right here. Like I said, the airships normally have a long cutscene that plays before them, but if you clear 7 airship before 5 airship, you don't have to watch this cutscene, and you're gonna see right here, it's gonna just let me instantly enter 5 airship. The other thing that's really nice about not having to watch that cutscene is normally the way the airship cutscenes work is once the cutscene's over, it just drags you into the level. Like it doesn't actually give you the option of like pressing A to enter the level. And because of that, you actually can't enter the airships as Nabbit the first time if you have to watch the cutscene. However, because I skipped the cutscene, I can actually enter this as Nabbit, so I don't have to risk losing my penguin suit, which is just a really nice like added side effect of that. So like, even though it doesn't actually save any time to use Nabbit here, it is much, much safer, and it's quite nice when you're almost 2 hours into your speedrun. Also, I think I said something wrong earlier about none of the auto-scrollers being long. This one's actually kind of long. But it's not even the auto-scroller itself that's very long, it's the boss fight at the end. Which is also our final boss of the run, so yeah, guess that's pretty cool. But our final boss won't be the end, but it is the final boss. Oh, somebody asked about the 8-bit Luigi, or the 8-bit Luigis that are in the levels. So every level in this game actually has a hidden Luigi. I really should have pointed that out earlier so people could look for them, so I kind of apologize for that. But for the rest of the run, you should definitely look out to see if you can find like a hidden Luigi in every level. It's actually pretty fun to try to find all of them. But yeah, this boss fight's basically an auto-scroller. Not too much we can do here. It would be pretty big if we could find a way to damage this guy without having to lure the torpedoes into him. I would say it's probably not going to happen, but I don't know. New Super Mario Bros. Wii found a way to do something like that, so you never really know.
Yeah, if it's brief enough, how did they do it in New Super Mario Bros.
So in Mario Wii, so in Mario Wii, in that fight, Bowser Jr. is like super close to the top of the, super close to the top of the screen, and I guess they thought like you couldn't hit him because, hold on, maybe I should like finish this fight first.
Apparently, yeah, I shouldn't have asked anything. It's my bad.
No worries. They thought like...
It's hard to do geometry while you're answering
Exactly.
questions.
Oh no. I'm gonna actually run out of time here. Oh, this is really funny. This has actually never happened, so this is really funny. Okay. Basically, he's really close to the ceiling in that game, and they thought like you wouldn't be able to like jump on top of him or something, but you can actually do a ground pound next to him, and it like decreases your hitbox enough that you can kind of squeeze between him and the ceiling and hit him. Any Summoning Salt fans might know about that trick because he did do a video about the game pretty recently, and that trick is kind of a big part of the any percent speedrun. Wow, that's a pretty funny mistake that I just had there, but that's all right.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's never happened before. Yeah, so 5-3 features poison. So even though I'm playing as Nabbit, of course, I can still die, so I still need to be careful. Oh man. Yeah, definitely need to be careful. And I guess for those who don't know, the game kind of treats Nabbit like an Easter egg. So if I do die as Nabbit, it treats it as if I died as Luigi. So it will take away my power-up. I will lose my penguin suit if I die as Nabbit, so I need to be very careful.
I guess that's kind of good for like not luring new runners into a pattern of just use Nabbit wherever, like.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, no, there's a lot of cases actually where like using Nabbit is the hard strat. Like, especially for the any percent run, I know like 1-2 and 7-1 are like those two levels in the any percent run where like that's like a top level strat is using Nabbit in those levels because it's actually way harder because you have to be good at platforming rather than just using Luigi to like glide over big sections. It's pretty funny. Yeah. Like Nabbit, you know, he's overpowered in one way, he can't take damage. But he's underpowered in the sense that he doesn't have access to that really good moveset of the acorn suit. So all the levels in this haunted forest have 2 exits, so we're going to be here for a few minutes, but this is kind of our cleanup of World 5. And I guess for anyone maybe just tuning in, this is all we have left before the final world. We are nearing the end. Oh, I didn't even point it out. I did something called the flagpole glitch in 5 Ghost House where I clipped into the base of the flagpole. I don't know if anybody actually noticed it. It's kind of similar to Super Mario Bros. But you can do that with a star. Basically, you spin jump right before you hit the flagpole. And that actually can cause you to clip into the base of the flagpole. It's pretty cool.
I did think it looked a little weird when you grabbed that flagpole, but I wasn't sure why. I was like, oh, maybe it's just because he's grabbing at the bottom or something. I don't know.
It's like muscle memory to just do them at this point when I have a star, so I kind of forget to talk about it. Maybe somebody caught it, though. Well, I know one person in chat did, but I think that was somebody... Yeah, that was Saria, who is always in my stream. So... But maybe somebody who didn't know about it. Alright, so that went pretty well. As you can see, Penguin Suit saves a lot in that level because we were able to just swim really, really quickly through the whole thing. Okay, so now we're coming up on the hardest level of the whole run. And guess what? It has 2 exits in it, so we have to do it twice. So that's fun. This is a really good example of a level that is way harder as Nabbit. We used to do this as Luigi with Acorn Suit, but we figured out it was actually worth it to keep the Penguin Suit for longer, meaning we need to do this as Nabbit now. So my platforming skills are definitely being put to the test. That's 1 exit. That's the easy one. So now we get to do the hard one. Oh, somebody asked how I use Nabbit. I hold ZL when I enter the level. It only works on the Wii U version, but on the Switch version, you can open up a character menu to switch to him. here's the hard part. Oops. I'm just gonna take this save. Yeah, that's okay. That was actually the first. That was the first death. Actually,
Yeah. I'm gonna take the safe and then go for the wall, jump off the pipe into that.
Oops.
It's like it only took it safe for so little.
Yeah, for like 1 second. Oh
Yeah,
no. Okay, this is a backup I've never done before, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try doing the same thing as Luigi that I would do with Nabbit, and we're gonna see if it works.
I believe.
All right. Come on. Oh my god. I have no idea how I made that work. That was complete.
That was incredible. That looked like a Super
impromptu
Mario Brothers
backup.
1, like piranha in a plant jump at that point.
Yeah, I don't know how I didn't get hit. All right. Man.
This run's just all about showing off the super sick backups, improvised or
Exactly.
otherwise.
I meant to do that, obviously. All right, so, well, we made it through that level at least. I was honestly not too surprised that I took a death there. But yeah, first death with the whole run, that's not bad at all. Making it this far. Deathless. All right, so making our way out of the haunted forest here. Unfortunately, because this star doesn't reach the flagpole, we don't get to do the flagpole glitch on this level. Kind of sad. You have to be like in the star state in order to do the glitch. Alright, so I would normally do this next level as Nabbit, but I'm actually going to do it as Luigi because I can just get an acorn in this level instead of having to equip one of the ones in my inventory. It's pretty unlikely I'll actually go through all 3 of those, but I just want to play it safe, and it's also just faster to do this than to open up the inventory. So, yeah. This level I would normally try to really avoid hitting these P-switches because I have a music cue at the end of the level for where to jump to the flagpole. You would think you could just hug the right side of the screen, and because it's an auto-scroller, you'll just hit the flagpole perfectly, but it kind of bumps you away from the flagpole. It's very weird. And so you have to actually time it, and I usually use a music cue, and I try to avoid hitting the P-switches so the music doesn't change at all during the level. Now, because I had to grab these power-ups, the power-ups have these little animations when you grab them, so that completely messes up my music cue. So now I'm just gonna have to YOLO it, but it's not a big deal. But I figured I should at least mention what I normally do here.
The important thing is that you're still collecting the 1-ups. You know, obviously going to need those.
Oh, yes. I don't know if I'm going to have enough, actually. 31 lives, I mean... You know, I have 31 lives,
Like
I'm taking 1 death. I don't know.
Might be a little dodgy. Might need a few extra.
Like, we have 10 minutes left at this rate. I don't know. So, yeah, we're done with World 5, and guess what that means? We have now finished all the worlds except World 9. So that is our last level in World 9 unlocking right now, which means we're going to head over and finish the run. So all these text boxes are actually just kind of telling us that we got those stars on our file. If you remember, I talked about those are the requirement for 100%. So each one of those yellow text boxes was telling us we got a star. So I was supposed to shoot to World 9 right there, but for some reason I shot to World 8. So we're just taking a little detour for fun. So yeah, now we're going into World 9. So each of these 8 levels that I'm going to play now are all based on the world that corresponds to them. So 9-1's based on World 1, 9-2's based on World 2, etc. But when I say based, it's like very loosely based, as in like the background maybe corresponds to the rest of World 1, but like we didn't see any level like this in World 1, so I don't know. They kind of tried to base it off of those worlds, but it was pretty loose. As you can see, Nabbit makes this level really easy. This level is actually a pretty big pain in the Luigi only run. So much so that we actually save it till the end of World 9 to do this level, because we almost always lose power-ups here. It's like so hard to not get hit. And that's the nice thing about World 9, is you can actually do the levels in any order. So unfortunately, because I did die in 5-4, I did lose my penguin suit, so didn't quite get to use it for the end of the run. So there is going to be a water level after this that I will just kind of have to slowly swim through, but it's like a 15-second time loss. It's really not like the end of the world. Now this level I would also use penguin, but it wouldn't really save like that much time. Just a little bit, because you can do some of those penguin slides. So this one is Nabbit, is pretty similar speed. Cool thing here, you don't actually have to jump off of that little bounce pad. You can actually just jump on the block. You can do that as Luigi as well. And then here you're supposed to like run backwards after you run past all the blocks to get the coin. And it'll be like on top of the blocks. You can just get it as you're running through, if you time your jump correctly. Yeah, not the biggest deal in the world to lose Penguin. We at least took it pretty far. We got to use it for that one water level in World 5 and for 3 castles, so I'm fine with that. So you remember, like I said earlier, these big purple fish can still eat Nabbit. I'm not immune to that, so have to be careful. Unfortunately, this one is just kind of boring with Nabbit. Not too much to say here.
I still like the optimizations though of trying to always get like pushed forward by the.
Oh, that is, yeah, that's a really good one to point out actually. Yeah, in all the underwater levels that feature those pipes where they're kind of like blowing you to the right, that is the one thing you can do to really optimize those, is try to get pushed forward as much as you possibly can. It actually makes a big difference throughout the course of just one level. So this is an auto-scroller, but it's actually very interesting. It's a vertical auto-scroller and it's scrolling upwards. So the interesting thing with vertical auto-scrollers is that things load off screen slightly. So like whatever's above me right now is like, whatever's directly above me right now is loaded, but then the rest of the level is not. So you can go a little bit off screen and stuff is still loaded basically. And so that's gonna be important for the ending of the level because there's a pipe I need to enter and I can actually enter that pipe before it even comes on screen. But unfortunately you can't do the entire level blind. I mean, I say unfortunately, I'm kind of glad you can't because that would be absolutely horrible to try to go for at the end of a 2-hour run.
I was gonna say, especially at the end, yeah, that'd be really rough.
So yeah, you can enter that pipe. All right, got a couple cool levels left here in World 9.
Made it!
So 9-5 is kind of a fan favorite, I know. Basically, this is a level where the bricks that you have to platform on, they appear like in front of you. as you go through the level. You'll see it now. And you can actually kind of get so far ahead of them that there's supposed to be this wall that's blocking you. And you can get past the wall before it appears. Oops. This Luigi right here is one of the not so well hidden ones. I promise that most of them are hidden better than this. So, since this run is not TV pace, I am going to do something for the next level that I think would just be fun to show off, and it only loses like a second. This is normally a Nabbit level, but I'm gonna have a little fun. And I think this is one of the cooler Luigi levels to show off. Oops. Well, that doesn't matter. I got through it. Oh, I actually have to die. I need to be big for the last coin. I'll try it one more time.
I swear it looked like you were going to get hit about 15 times. And so it was only 2. I was like, just super amazed.
Let me try it one more time. Why not? I mean, it's not a PV pace run. Might as well have a little fun here and show off something cool. Yeah, as you can see, this would be super easy with Nabbit, but with Luigi, not so much. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that was pretty sick. Like, even seeing it twice is just still great.
That was fun. Worth it, for sure. Marathon runs, it's not about the final time, it's about the fun you have. Alright, so, this is our last Nabbit level. So, I guess we can say goodbye to Nabbit. This is a hard one, actually. So, this has a trick. Oh, I'm already gonna die. So hold on. This has a trick called Cloud Skip. If I can actually get in the first cloud here, I might be able to show it off. This is sketchy. Yeah, I think I can still show it off. So basically, you're supposed to grab this next cloud right here, but I can actually skip it by just barely making it to the next platform. Okay. That was like right as the cloud ran out. And then this guy, I'm not really sure how you're supposed to get on him, but you can just do it in the air. And then I try to jump off that cloud as early as possible to make it to the end, just barely. Because traveling in the cloud is slower, so I want to minimize that. Alright, well that is the end of Nabbit, so I just gotta finish up the run as Luigi. Also, I did kind of lie earlier because I said we wouldn't really be using Acorn, but we do use it for like 3 levels at the end, I guess. So this one is an example of, like, we could do this as Nabbit. Oops. But these big spiked balls, they give you that knockback effect as Nabbit, so it's smarter to do this as Luigi. Oh my gosh. To just be able to damage boost through them rather than get knocked backwards.
Bye-bye.
Well, we made good work on these backup acorns, huh? I have to say, this was like probably one of the last levels I was expecting to die in, so that's really interesting, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, like there as Nabbit, I would have like hit the spike ball, it would have knocked me backwards into the pit, but as Luigi, you can just damage boost through, so Very interesting. Oops. So it doesn't matter at all that I got hit there. The next level gives me Acorn right at the start.
Made it.
But I lied to you guys because this is actually the last Luigi level as well. No more Nabbit, no more Luigi, but there's still another level. So I'm actually going to be playing as someone special now.
What? The Super
I know.
Mario level?
I wish. So, won't be playing as Mario. We can't have Mario be in our Luigi game, but instead we have a hamburger. So if you hold ZL when you enter this level, instead of playing as Nabbit, it gives you a Mii to play as. So my Mii is just this hamburger guy. So yeah, I get to just play the final level as a hamburger, which is pretty cool. You can set it to whoever you want, really. So the one like cool mechanic in this level, basically, if you're moving to the left or to the right, you will descend slower. So if I just like let go here, see, I'll start moving towards the bottom of the screen, but then if I move to the left or right, I kind of regain my height. So that's the one thing you can do to make this level pretty easy. I didn't actually know about that while playing the game casually, so this level was actually hard for me until I figured that out. They don't really tell you that anywhere either. Okay, so now I gotta just drop into this final pipe that's off screen. Yeah, that's the last thing we do in the run, is drop into an off-screen pipe, and if you do it too early, you die.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, with that being said, that is the end. Time is coming up. There's going to be 2 text boxes that pop up right now, and it's going to be when the second one pops up. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. And time. Nice. Yeah, I got 218.36 on my end, so that was really good. I had set the estimate as 220, so a bit under.
GG. That was really fun.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah, I had a really good time showing off this game to you guys. I know this game isn't like super popular, so it was fun to like give it some exposure. Yeah, really, really grateful for getting the chance to be in this marathon. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Well, thank you, Uvideo. Everybody be sure to go follow twitch.tv/Uvideo. That was an incredible run. And of course, our first run of the day here for One-and-Done-athon, we got to close it off right by saying goodbye forever to Uvideo.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
It's been so fun. Thank you so much.
Erasing the name. We got to say goodbye forever. Thank you so much for showing off your run and for doing such an excellent job with the commentary. And now we are going to go to a short break, everybody, while we get set up for our next run, which is going to be E's Memories of Calcutta, Salsetta. I should have confirmed with Ghost Kumo. I never remembered to, but we're going to go to break and we're going to get excited for that run. Don't go anywhere. We'll be